Right about now, we'll talk about the ongoing crisis in the Middle East that has to do with the United States of America, and Iran, the killing actually of the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, with some family members. And of course, it has degenerated into chaos in which countries now are picking signs. And I think the UK I think 2 days ago, said they are now a part of it. And Iran actually has been warning that Europe should stay out of the matter because whatever they are planning against America will be huge. And of course, there have been reactive attacks against some bases in which the US used for launching the attacks against the UAE, against some other countries. But, that's not even the focus for us this morning. The focus is how these affect Nigeria. The oil price is going up, and we understand it might hit the $100 mark per barrel anytime soon. So how do we prepare so that we won't be adversely affected too much, because the price of petrol is already going up in Nigeria right now. Like 4 days ago, Dangote refinery increased the gantry price, of petrol from their end. Again, that is not where we are going. Where I'm going this morning is about the protest witnessed in some part of the country by some persons, especially the Shia Muslims, the one they call the IMN in Nigeria. And they have been, we've seen pockets of demonstrations in Lagos, in Abuja, in Kano. The Islamic Movement of Nigeria, also known as the Shi'ite. I will allow you to take a look into part of their procession and what one of them said as far as the conflict between US and Iran is concerned.
It has broken our hearts. It has weakened us, and it at the same time it reminded us with the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, and then we regain we regain ourselves, and we felt that this is the path.
Of course, like you can see, the processions and the dragging of the American and the Israel flag on the ground, showing their disdain for these countries. One would say there's freedom of expression, freedom of worship, freedom of association, and all of those things. But as Nigerians, irrespective of your belief, many Nigerians are asking, how does this concern us, in all of this? But maybe it does, and maybe those people, it does concern them. Dr. Chuksma is still here with us. Doctor, this is where we are at this time, and we've seen situations in which something will be happening in other countries, and you've seen some Nigerians take it to heart and sometimes attack their own people. That has not been confirmed. I'm just, walking us back to antecedents. The issue of the controversial beauty pageantry that appeared, allegedly mocked the image of the prophet at the time, that happened somewhere far from Nigeria. It was taken to heart in Nigeria. There was a protest, there was an attack on the people. The caricature of a cartoon that was made of the prophet one time was in Sweden or thereabout. There was an attack here, protest by some Nigerians, especially some Northerners. Now, this is happening. We have many examples to that. Something is happening between Israel, US, and Iran, and some persons are taking it upon themselves to protest again that their leaders have been killed and, all of those things. Now, the major question is, why should this be our business as Nigerians, irrespective of your faith? Can you please help us with that?
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to say here that we need to be careful as a people. Where we are not directly involved, we should not get involved at all. If for any reason we leave that for the Ministry of External Affairs to handle, that's one. We do know we have some disgruntled elements within our society, be it whichever religion they find themselves, misguided, and will want to bring some wrath onto us. We have enough problems here in Nigeria, localized problems. Let's solve our own problems first and foremost before we start talking about the problems on the outside. Are we affected, or are we going to be affected? We're already affected. The price of oil, which is now coming up now, by way of petrol to every average person in Nigeria, whether you own a car or not, inflation is going to begin to stagger up. As like you said, the price of crude oil is soon going to hit the $100 mark per barrel, and it might even supersede that. Now, already, as of today, the American government, through its embassy in Nigeria, has shut down issuance of visas to Nigerians based on the protest. If this continues to go on, what happens to other nations? Who suffers? At the end of the day, we shall suffer. Because the fact now, as America starts, other nations will also begin now. Britain, France, and other countries will begin to shut down the issuance of visas to Nigeria just because a few people decide to demonstrate on something which we have no direct concern about. That's my own thinking. However, like I said earlier, if we have issues, that's why we have ambassadors. Yes, but again, we need to be very, very careful because a little spark could lead to a third world war, and we need to be very careful. So at the end of the day, how does this affect us? I tell people this is the time you need to learn how to save, how to put some things down at home, just in case, in terms of foodstuff, money, if I have a little family at home in case you fall ill, because if anything goes wrong, the whole world will shut down, just like how we had during the period of coronavirus. So we need to be very, very careful what is at stake. We need to be very careful. Yeah, I don't want to, how would I word, to make us begin to get paranoia. No, I don't want to incite the public, so I just stop here. But we need to be very careful.
I understand.
And options.
Yeah. Quite a sensitive one, and this is us speaking to the public good, and this is not demeaning or downgrading anybody's faith, belief, or religion, not at all, far from it.
Yes.
Just like you have said, because yesterday it was reported, just like you said, that the U.S. stopped every appointment of visual issuance in Abuja because of what they called intel that has to do with protests, people protesting against whatever is happening outside of here, and they are saying so we don't know how long that will last. It was Wednesday, maybe till today, maybe till Friday, and just like you said, other countries might say as well, please stop it, and you now get to see that people's lives and plans are being disrupted just because some persons are taking solidarity for whatever you have said doesn't directly impact on them. Now, let me take statement attributed to the Southwest coordinator of this IMN, that's Islamic Movement of Nigeria, Muftau Zakaria. And he said the protest will remain peaceful and continue across the southwest geopolitical zone. And the protesters marched, chanting solidarity with Iran and strong opposition to the actions of the United States and Israel. He said the protest was organized to express their concerns about what he called sustained invasions of sovereign nations by the United States administration, citing Venezuela as a recent example of foreign interference. He also urged the federal government to reject the presence of U.S. troops in the country, and I want us to, lay emphasis on that. Urging the federal government to reject the presence of U.S. troops in the country, Zakaria claimed that terrorism in Nigeria has increased since the involvement of the U.S. government. He said heightened and sustained attacks in Kwara State followed what he described as U.S. involvement in the country's affairs. Another leader of the movement, Muhammadu Bashir, said the protest was to register their concerns over the killing of Iranian leaders. And you recall that in the protest in Gombe, an IMN leader, Muhammad Abari, described the attack on Khamenei as unfortunate and unacceptable. Abari was quoted to have said, "We strongly condemn any attack on a religious and political leader of such standing. However, we urge our followers to remain calm, peaceful, and law-abiding in the expression of their concerns." Now, what these leaders have been able to say is the protest is okay by them expressing their concerns about certain issues, U.S. intervention in Nigeria, that's one, and then the killing of Ayatollah Khamenei, religious leader as they call him, of his stature, but that everything will be peaceful. Now, the question many Nigerians have been asking of IMN and many persons that have been protesting since this US-Israel-Iran war is. Have you guys ever protested against the killings in your own country? Killing of your own countrymen. Now you are talking about the US intervening in some other nations and killing of some leaders of other nations is of concern to you. How about people that are, you are even saying the US should go. They should not be allowed to intervene in Nigeria. Can you make it make sense, Dr. Maha?
Femi, that's the biggest problem we have in this country. We don't have value for human life. I've said it before. What is the value of human life in Nigeria? It's close to zero, if not beyond zero. This same movement, if they had come out even before now to have their protest on the issue of the state of insecurity in Nigeria, it would have been a welcome movement. Probably I wouldn't have subscribed to them if they were bold enough to have done that. When there were killings all over in the northeast, the northwest, north central, and even as close as Kwara State now, getting down to Ekiti also now. But you see, that's why I mentioned some elements of misguidedness are there. Some people, I do not know. I'm not looking at religion now, but I'm looking at the elements of the persons now. Please, I want people to get me right here. I'm not seeing anything about any religion. I have family members in both sides of the coin. Now, but the truth is that how patriotic, I've spoken about this thing before. How patriotic are we as Nigerians?
Yeah.
That is the word. How patriotic are we as Nigerians? Until we become patriotic as a Nigerian, they will begin to look inward to resolve our issues and problems. The Americans here in Nigeria that came here, the little contingent that came here, have come to lend a hand in showing us the way out by way of expertise. They have not come to make issues or matters worse. No, they are being controlled. The Nigerian army has a close secret conduct over them, monitoring what their activities are. They are here to help, give us a helping hand. We requested for their services. And that's it. So that is neither here nor there. But I dare say, even before the Americans came, we already have intel that we have foreign mercenaries here in Nigeria. What is being said about it? Nothing is being said about it. So please, let's go back inwards, solve our problems inwards. Let's resolve the issue of the state of insecurity in Nigeria, bring Nigeria back to the domain of where originally it's meant to be. Then we can begin to talk about whatever it is that's going on the outside. But please note, we have been warned as a nation to stay away from it. No other African country is being involved. So I don't know why we're trying to get ourselves involved.
Exactly. And that's, the police in Bauchi State, the PPRO there, Nafi Habib, in an interview with newsmen, he affirmed the demonstration on Sunday in the state, that's talking about Bauchi, that it was conducted without any reported incident. Like every Nigerian individual group, the Shiites have the right to peaceful demonstration. We are aware that yesterday they conducted the same in Bauchi. What we witnessed was peaceful. And up to now, we have not recorded any breakdown of law and order. Now, speaking on IMN in Bauchi, Ahmad Yashi said the killing of Iran's supreme leader will not bring peace, but will rather aggravate the situation. We are with Iran in heart and soul. They are targeting the Iranian supreme leader to make the country surrender, but they are mistaken. The supreme leader, as a religious authority, is among those dousing tensions and yada, yada, yada. Here we are on this matter. The police in Bauchi have said the conduct have been peaceful, and of course there is right to protest. But then what do you believe these people are just doing these things in their capacity, expressing their rights on whatever they believe, in as much as peaceful, or there might be a message they are subtly sending, or the rest of the world, the stakeholders now, might be peaking? Do you see whatever they are doing having an effect on the country, or is just an organization doing its thing? The US, the Israel, the other guys might not really see it as a big deal. Or does it count? Because in that particular clip that was seen, we saw one of those protests where they were dragging the American flag on the ground, dragging the Israel flag on the ground. Does that really matter, or we should be careful?
Well, it only means we should be careful, be cautious. They could drag the flag on the ground as long as they do not go to the embassy and do that in front of the embassy, or try to remove the flag of the embassy down, whether it's the American flag or the Israeli flag at the embassy here in Nigeria. That would be an open confrontation of that country against Nigeria. So we need to be very careful. But so far, I'm happy. It has not been violent. It's been peaceful. I hope the leaders have full control of these movements, and that I'm hoping it's not hijacked by some unscrupulous elements, because that's another problem that goes on here in Nigeria. And of course, when these things go on, every country in the world picks up intel from every other country. Now they begin to look at Nigeria with caution. You remember what America placed us, CPC, country of what? Of particular concern.
Yeah.
So you now know. So this now begins to give credence to what they've been saying or their suspicion. But so far, we need to play it down. The message is being sent. We understand it. But again, too, we cannot openly express our grievance, as it were, because we are not an international political power broker. So whether we talk, we don't talk, it does not change the facts of what goes on. We're not in the big G20, G21, as it were. Only members of those ones can talk and they will listen to our head. But the truth remains that, please, as much as possible, we should conduct ourselves in a manner that Nigeria does not get involved in whatever is going on in the present crisis outside the country. It's bad enough petroleum prices are going up, which is going to skyrocket to other food implements, transportation, feeding, education, medical. Oh, we are all going to have a setback financially. All Nigerians, all of us, whether you're rich or you're poor, whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian, we're all going to have a financial setback.
All right. Now, softly, some have been asking, that Nigeria as a country should rather just watch and see whatever is, happening, and maybe the Ministry of External Affairs under Yusuf Tuga should just monitor the situation. If you have Nigerians in those countries, we should, have them back home as soon as possible so that we don't expose them to attacks and all of those things. And we should not take a position on this matter. But Nigeria is part of the international community. Do you subscribe to that argument that we should play what Nigerians call sit down and look, and rather mind our business? Whatever is going to affect us, either in the economy, let's shore up our base, importation, exportation, petroleum. We are even hearing that whatever is happening now might affect the LNG, cooking gas, and all of those things. We should rather pay attention of those things and not take a side. But the US is our ally. Should we just watch everybody do their business while we handle our business?
I subscribe to what you just said now. Sit down, look, and we do our business. Rather, let's look inwards to see how we can stabilize prices to ensure we export less of the oil and let most of the oil be available for Dangote for him to refine, so prices can reduce from what's going on, and ask Nigerians who imports the final product in to patronize Dangote while we can supply Dangote with the crude. This by trying to minimize excessive price exploitation. They can look inward into that. And again, this is the time the National Orientation Agency again should come up again to say, look, guys, there's a crisis in the international world, as it were. We cannot pretend to say it's not going on, but as much as possible, we should not get ourselves involved. The External Affairs Ministry, too, like you rightly said, should not take sides with anyone, whatever it is, and our comments in the international sphere should be neutral. We need to be as careful as possible. We've suffered enough losses in Nigeria, amongst all of us. There's no Nigeria that has not suffered a loss, whether directly or indirectly. So we should not make the matters worse and create some calamity for something that does not directly affect us.
All right. The Nigerian Diaspora Commission, NIGCOM, under Abike Dabiri, have released a statement, and they have said there is no distress call from Iran yet. That's what they said 2 days ago. The NIGCOM's Director of Media, Public Relations and Protocols, Abdurrahman Balogun, gave the assurance in a statement on Tuesday. The commission said Nigerian authorities are monitoring the situation and have received calls from a few Nigerians in Qatar, UAE, and Iran inquiring about preparations for evacuations when it becomes necessary. The fact of the matter is that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is working with all relevant agencies for appropriate steps while appealing to Nigerians in the affected countries to follow the travel advice as issued. And Nigerians in affected countries should be rest assured that the federal government is monitoring the situation, and this is what is being said at this time, to say no distress call. And but can we do more? Would we rather wait for distress calls, or if there's anything we can do, to help the plight of our people. Because NIGECOM is saying we are monitoring the situation. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is monitoring the situation either from Dubai, UAE, Iran, and all of those places. There are no distress call yet. When they call us, we will answer. Is that the best we can do, or we can actually do more?
Well, there isn't much we can do with those who are caught up in the trap of the UAE because their airports are shut, the seaports are shut, they cannot come in or go out. But in Iran or in Israel or other neighboring countries, Turkey and all like that, what the Nigerian high commissions or embassies there should do is what we call, what do you call this now? Tracking of all the nationals there. Telephone calls for as many of those who registered in the embassy upon entering the country. Lagbaja, are you around? Are you okay? It's like activating the call tree. That's it, to make sure that, look, we're in place. Please, we put a travel advisory note now. Go on our website. You will see these things. So now the embassies in this place should reach out to where we have the Nigerian communities within that country, where they have their domain. Reach out to churches, where you have Nigerian churches or Nigerian mosque or Nigerian hangouts or association where they're at, or the markets, wherever it is, or reach out to persons who are notable, known or well known with this community. Look, you need to activate a call tree, and this is what we're doing.
All right.
That's one. The second again too, because we don't have a national carrier, who then can we rely upon? No other than just one airline that we know that does international flights. So say, look, oh boy, if push comes to shove, the federal government is ready to anchor paying for the fueling of your airline to help uplift these people from that country back to Nigeria. Since we cannot pay you, or if we're not able to pay you, we shall give you compensation by tax waivers. You will not pay tax for the next number of years by way of compensation to pay you for the usage of your aircraft. So these things we put in place. So it's not when the time comes up, we start looking around, running up and down, looking for which airline to move. No, all these things should all be in place. So once it comes up, move, bam, press the button. All right. Based on which scenario is being played out.
Yeah. All right. The director of media at NIGECOM was also quoted to say, I'm not saying there are no Nigerians there. I'm only saying nobody has sent any distress call. And he explained that flight cancellations to the region are due to ongoing hostility, stressing that no airline will operate in an active war zone. You cannot fly where bombs are going up and down. No airline will fly. Adding that the situation affects all nationals, not just Nigerians alone. There may be ceasefire for 2 or 3 days to allow people who are stranded at the airport to be evacuated. That has not been done. So it's a really serious problem. And we hope, just like you said, everything should be ready. At the moment there is a chance to evacuate, don't let it be, it's that time, but we are looking for air peace. Just say it as it is. We have always been calling on air peace to help us. Alex Oyema and his guys.
You said so, Fed.
Well, everybody knows this is a public conversation. But my last take on this matter, we have less than 2 minutes. One of those things that was said by one of these IMN guys is that since the U.S. came, especially in Kwara State, the attacks has been more daring. They are saying the intervention of the U.S. has not really been helpful. And really, when you check it, many persons have been saying, have they really been helpful? Because we have now been seeing series of attacks, from Kwara to Katsina to all of those spaces. Do you think this is really working, really? If the Americans intervene, Tomahawks have been landed, some couple of bombings have been done, these assailants, these criminals should be running away, but they are becoming elbowing. Is it really working, Dr. Maha?
Now, I'll answer yes and no. It's a small contingent that came. There's a thing we call diversional tactics, where you deliberately continue doing something to move the attention from where the people are to another place and then strike. Are you getting the point I'm saying?
Yeah.
The US guys are there. Intels are there. They are pinned down. They know the notorious areas that will be of grave concern. The question is, what are security agencies in Nigeria doing to stem and quell the issue of insurgency there in Kwara? From the governor to all the security agencies at his disposal there. What are they doing? That is the question we should be asking. Like I've said before, these insurgents are no spirits. They live with and amongst us. They come into the community. They don't have helicopters. They move on foot on ground. People see them. I've been saying this times over and over. One, security is money.
All right. This will be the convenient place for us to anchor this morning. Dr. Chuksma.
We need to have air-to-ground support them out. Use the telcos too. They use phones. They walk through the villages. They buy food. They buy fuel for their motor.
All right. I think we're having some
down there
troubles.
To service them because I hear they pay very well. So there's so much can be done.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Chuksma, for your take on the program this morning, starting with the hurdles and expectations for the Nigerian police, the new IGP, and the creation or the conversation, the committee that has been put together to see into the framework of having state police in Nigeria. And of course, the protesters protesting whatever is happening between Israel, Iran, and the US, and what it means for us, and the optics to the outside world. Dr. Chuksma is a security expert and consultant. Thank you very much for your take, as always, sir. All right. This will be, you're welcome. And it's our country. Either you're in Nigeria, either you're protesting, whatever is happening. And the question is it your business, really? Is your faith, is your belief? But how will these affect us? If you're protesting, make sure it's not affecting someone else. And the issue of epileptic power supply in Osun State, you know, it's one that we can't stop talking about. It's abysmal. It's horrible. It's very disturbing. It's not helping anyone. Even if they have the reason why it's happening, Nigerians, Osun people deserve to know this is not what the president promised us. Femi Ojo is my name. I'll make a return. We'll make a return for the last installment of the program tomorrow for the TGF edition. God bless Nigeria. Bye.